Hi everybody, this is a little video I'm going to do to talk about an article which the Army of Shambhala has just, that's us, we've just put out this article, which is, it's an important article because this is the second article which we've made as the Army of Shambhala warriors, which you can see here. And in this first article, we presented, well, this is the King of Shambhala, the 25th King of Shambhala, who's called Rudra Chakra. And this article presents just a little bit about Shambhala and its philosophy, which is Kalachakra, and the end of the world, because there's the prophecy of the end of the world. And also in the comments, we explain a lot about the fact that the warriors of Shambhala and everything in the Kalachakra, which is describing Shambhala and the apocalypse, everything is spiritual. And when it talks about warriors of Shambhala, it's just about having the attitude of the warrior towards spiritual reality and to be a warrior in defeating the spiritual obstacles which one has, oneself, inside oneself. It has nothing to do with a battle or something like that. It's like it's a battle on ignorance, and that's it. It's figurative, metaphorical language. It has nothing to do. So that's explained very well in this article. And I made another video here, which I played.
About the 6-6 draw in the lottery of Chicago in Obama's home,
which I included.
After his election, they said, it looks like Obama's the Antichrist, and
so I'll put the link to that in the article. I'm going to make a new article now, and I'll put the link to that other article in that, so you'll find that at the bottom of the video. Now, what's interesting here, which I want to recommend to you people, is the comments. The comments are good, and I've been having these people who've been heckling me a lot about the idea of Kalachakra and the apocalypse and Shambhala. They've been heckling me a lot for 4 or 5 years. I tried to edit Wikipedia, to edit things I edited quite a few things about Buddhism, and I edited things about the 666 symbol, which marks Obama. And I say Obama is the Antichrist, and he also fits with the description of the Antichrist in Tibetan Buddhism, the apocalypse of Tibetan Tantric Buddhism, which is in the Kalachakra. So I've had a lot of people criticizing me, and on this article there are 68 comments, with the usual people commenting, and I engaged them in discussion about the Kalachakra, and I gave a lot of explanations. So you can see they've dumbed down, they voted down a lot of my comments, so you have to open them specifically, because they really didn't like them, and they don't want to talk about Kalachakra. So here there's a lot of explanations. I gave a lot of explanations about the Kalachakra. And there are some very interesting people who came to comment here who don't usually comment. Okay, so here I'm giving an explanation about the peaceful nature that Kalachakra is about love and compassion, and it's not about hatred, and it's not about war. When it talks about war, it's war against ignorance, it's war against inner obstacles of each person who is meditating. That's what it is. There's nothing else. Now here, so I'm making a new article now, and this video about one comment by a guy called Donovan. So I'm going to blow that up here. I hope you can see that. Donovan says, Buddhism is not a white man's religion, it's an Oriental religion. So be respectful of another people's culture that you are parasitically infiltrating. He says that I'm a white orienting an Oriental religion, Buddhism, and I'm not respecting it. I'm not being respectful. He doesn't. Well, he's a Christian. He doesn't know what he's talking about because I've studied Tibetan Tantric Buddhism for 43 years. I've been a religious Buddhist for 43 years, and in those 43 years, I did 5 years of Tibetan language and culture at the University of Paris. And I did, after post-university research, 28 years on this particular subject of Kalachakra, which is Tibetan Tantric Buddhism. So, I mean, this guy says, be respectful of another people's culture, which I'm parasitically, I'm a parasite, he says. In fact, you should run as far away as possible from Buddhism or any other religion you don't know or that does not belong to you. He says that every person must be in their race. If you're a Westerner, you should stick to Christianity. He's talking like a missionary. Missionaries, I've met Christian missionaries in India, for example. They say they feel it's terrible that Westerners convert to Hinduism or Buddhism. And when they meet Westerners who are converted to Buddhism, like I am a Buddhist. I met this missionary one time in India. And I was really interested in this guy because he spoke Tibetan. He spoke Tibetan so that he could convert them to Christianity. I was sitting there and he was speaking Tibetan. And I speak Tibetan. And so I was listening to his Tibetan. He spoke good Tibetan. And he was so upset that I was a Buddhist. The same as this guy. Just stick to Christianity, since that is how you pilgrims should be worshiping. You and the guy claiming to be some sort of Messiah are pathetic. Okay, so he's talking about me. The guy claiming to be some kind of Messiah, he's talking about me. You, so he's talking about somebody else. You is probably J. Will. Okay, so he said, I was kind of thinking you really wanted truth until you came up with this Buddhist mumbo jumbo. So this guy is practically a missionary. So I started answering this guy, and so he came back. He came back again. He said, why don't you shut your hole from misleading and confusing people? Reality check. There is no Buddhist army out there, period. So therefore, you're screwed. So I'm presenting ourselves as the army of Shambhala. And he says there is no army out there, period. And that's a very ignorant statement, because the Kalachakra talks about the Shambhala army, which is a massive army. It's made up of millions of people. The figure is enormous. It's astoundingly big. And the nature of that army is discussed. That's the subject of topic of great discussion within Buddhist circles, and even all outside of Buddhism, in Christian circles, in the circles of other religions than Buddhism, and in Russia, for example, Kalachakra is very popular, and there's a lot of discussion about what is this army, because it's very clear that it's a mythical, metaphorical, figurative. It's not a kind of real army. It's it's like with the Bible. Like if people want to interpret who is the Messiah, who's the Antichrist, when will the apocalypse happen? It says in the Bible that nobody can know, and nobody can know who is the Messiah, nor is who's the Antichrist. These are things which one cannot know. And so there's a lot of speculation about that. In Buddhism, there's an enormous amount of speculation. What is this army? So it's very ignorant for him to say there is no Buddhist army out there, period. Because Buddhists don't know. So how is this guy who is not even a Buddhist, how is he going to know? So he says, instead of wasting your time with gibberish, you and your new partner should receive Jesus Christ. So he's a missionary, and be saved from God's coming wrath. So he's just a typical missionary. Then you can be really effective. He says effective. It's effective in helping people receive the truth, with all caps, truth. The only way you're going to take back America is through Jesus Christ and invoking the power of God. not by some pathetic army of Buddhist shams. So he's saying that both me and the guy who made the previous article, Jay Will, we cannot involve with the Buddhist army of Shambhala because we're Westerners. He disqualifies us just by the fact that we're born as Westerners. Why mislead people to hell with this Buddhism? So he accuses us of pushing people towards Buddhism and getting ready to convert people to Buddhism. And he says that we're misleading people, distracting them from Jesus and God, and we're funneling them into Buddhism, and he doesn't like that. So this guy is actually a Christian missionary, that's why I recommend you people to read this article and the article I'm making now with this video now, and the one I'm showing you here. I'm going to take the excerpts of this. I'm going to take excerpts of this and put it in the other article, because this guy is trying to say that Westerners have to stick to Christianity and Orientals stick to Buddhism. He wants everybody to stick to their own tradition. So then at the end he says, your ancestors are pilgrims, so go back to your roots and be in a real army of Christian soldiers. He is very disturbed by the idea of an army, because in Christianity in the Bible they also say the army of Christian soldiers. So the Christians want to have the exclusive army idea. They don't want anybody to use the idea of a Buddhist soldiers, Buddhist army. They don't want people to use that idea of the army. They want to own that idea. So I answered to him. So I'm going to put all of these comments in the new article. So I answered to him. The shocker to what I said is this: the king of Shambhala will affect the apocalypse in the end times, great war of the Kalachakra, will be a Westerner. Exactly the opposite of what he said. He said, you're a Westerner, so you can't be Buddhist. You're betraying yourself if you're involving in this. I say, well, that's tough for you, but the Kalachakra says that the future king of Shambhala, who will get this army of Shambhala together and who will spread this apocalypse, he will be a Westerner. So it's tough for him. It's tough for him, but there's one Westerner which will be stolen away from that guy, this guy Donovan, will be stolen away from Jesus, will be stolen away from God, and he will be the king of Shambhala who will make the apocalypse. So I'm kind of doing a flip, like karate and just like judo. You take somebody like Vladimir Putin is a judo black belt. It's like a black belt. He takes his opponent. The opponent says something, and he uses that energy to flip him over. He says Westerner cannot be a Buddhist, and he says it's a bad karma. And he sounds kind of He sounds very panicky. And I say, well, tough for you, but it's written in the Kalachakra, the Tibetan thing, that he will be a Westerner. He's right on the money, but he didn't want to be on the money. So I'm going to put that. I'm going to put the text there. Okay. So I hope you appreciate this article, which you're going to find the link underneath this video. And I hope you appreciate the other article which is in that link. Okay, bye-bye people.